He is the first broadcaster to call play-by-play on boxing, kickboxing, MMA, and professional wrestling events on national television. He's been part of Showtime for 11 years now, and Showtime will be the home of a wonderful documentary that you need to all check out on Friday, May 25th, because it is raw, it is honest, and it is something that is required viewing because bipolar affective disorder is a condition that afflicts nearly 5% of the U.S. population. Pleased to have here, certainly on Mental Health Awareness Month in May, the bipolar rock and roller himself, Mauro Ranallo. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, Rich, and thank you very much for giving me this platform. I've been a big-time fan, and I appreciate the class, the grace, and the expertise in which you do your job.
I appreciate you saying that. You said that off air, and I said, please say it on air.
See,
I really wasn't serious.
I'm a pro.
I really wasn't serious. But you did miss out one part, but that's okay. Wow. It's all right.
It's for the sequel.
Well, we just showed a clip of this documentary that I guess is a full accounting of what you have been battling for your entire life, right?
Pretty close, yep.
And you said it was tough for you to watch. So why do this documentary? Why put your battle with bipolar affective disorder on the screen for everybody to see?
Because it is tough to watch, but it is something necessary. Mental health affects all of us in one way or another. You gave out a statistic around the world, globally, depression, one of the leading causes of death. And because it's perceived as an invisible illness, I'm not in a wheelchair, I'm not on crutches, I don't take insulin for diabetes, I'm not undergoing chemotherapy for cancer, Rich, but something equally as debilitating impacts me and millions of others. And the fact that I'm a survivor and the fact that I'm here at the highest level of my career, being able to be a fully functioning human being, but still dealing with what I deal with on a daily basis. I've lost more than one person to suicide due to mental health. And the reason they killed themselves was because they were ashamed, because they were shamed, because society and a lot of people, employers and family members even, because they don't understand, they tend to ostracize and ignore. I've been very fortunate throughout my life, not only with family, but my employers. I remember my first full-time radio job, I was 21 years old. I had just been diagnosed, and what triggered my diagnosis, because it usually is an intense, stressful situation that was the death of my best friend, Michael Jansen, at 19. We were thick as thieves. He died of a heart attack. And so I tried to pick up the pieces. I was in radio full-time, 21 years old. Within months, I'm already hospitalized again. I wrote a resignation letter to the radio station. My father refused to send it because he knew how much broadcasting and being an announcer had meant to me all my life. My boss there, Brian Laver in Chilliwack, British Columbia, 1991 this was, he refused to let me go. And so right from there, they showed support. They said, hey, this guy's battling something, but he's a hard worker. He's got raw potential. He's a talented kid. Let's give him a chance. And I've had that support throughout my life. Unfortunately, millions of people do not. So for me, I wanted it to be uncomfortable. I wanted it to be raw. I wanted to show me at my worst, because everyone sees me at my best and they think, wow, what a life. Yeah, I'm living the dream, much like yourself, Rich. I'm so blessed to be able to do what I do for a living. But for many people, they are alone. They are scared. And especially men, Rich, and we deal with it in sports, the alpha male, and what's happening even in the NFL and what happened in the NHL with so many enforcers killing themselves. We're having a conversation now, Rich. You talk to athletes, you talk to so many celebrities. We always, hey, how are you doing? We really need to ask, how are you doing? And then sit down and listen and have that conversation, because so many people are not doing well.
Yeah, as opposed to just being a throwaway starting line.
And it's not snap out of it, or you're just looking for attention. Or it's amazing the amount, because you don't see it, what you interpret. Don't be judgmental. Just listen.
Mauro Ranallo here on the Rich Eisen Show. And, Kevin Love writing about his panic attacks really was jarring for a lot of people. Because, again, you see what he does for a living. It's a dream for many to even attempt it, let alone have it happen. And somebody who's got a ring and he's got a life and he's got bank.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And it was really jarring. What did you think of that?
I am amazed. And timing is everything. And let's face it, this documentary is being released by design during Mental Health Awareness Month, but even at this time of life. We have DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Love, and the entire NBA, God bless, with their mind check. The NHL is getting a little more involved with Mariah Carey just on People magazine with her bipolar disorder. Demi Lovato, hip-hop artists like Logic. Rich, it's
Brandon Marshall.
Brandon Marshall,
NFL,
big. Yeah. It's now, and it has to happen. If you could simply save a life by allowing, this is why this is my therapy, even talking to you. Mm-hmm. I feel better releasing it. I wake up every morning anxiety-ridden, wondering, is this the day I'm going to be exposed as a fraud? Is this the day I lose everything? So talk therapy is so paramount, and that's why much bigger people than myself, including the ones we mentioned, everyone needs to start talking about it. And I love the fact that even Hollywood, finally, with Claire Danes on Homeland on Showtime, Ron Howard with A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe may have been the first time that I saw mental health, the illness depicted in such an artistic and yet respectful fashion. Look at One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is an amazing movie. But look how we treated people who are mentally ill. Right. And look how we continue to treat them, Rich. I've been hospitalized once in America. I can afford the best treatment. I've never been in jail, Rich. I would challenge anyone to tell me where I was in this treatment center for mental health if it was any worse than jail in terms of the treatment and the conditions.
And then also the latest on Robin Williams and his passing.
Huge idol.
And what was going on in his
amazing
brain at the time of his undoing. And it's heartbreaking. Do you feel, Mauro, just seeing yourself in this documentary way back in the day with wrestling and having just heard you with the fight, if you will, of this century with Mayweather and Conor McGregor, that this is also your therapy when you sit in front of a microphone?
It is my therapy since day one, Rich. It's weird, right? Because most people say public speaking or being in front of camera is the most fearful thing.
No question.
And I don't know why, but for me, since I was a kid, that's when I felt at home. This is when I feel alive. This is when I can work out everything. And I know for many people, my God, that guy's over the top, or he's too energetic. He's always yelling, and he's always coming up with these weird pop culture references or whatever. That to me is my creative outlet, and that to me is how I perform. And there is a benefit, believe it or not. And you mentioned Robin Williams. Some of the most brilliant minds, some of the most artistically gifted people, and I'm not putting myself in this category by any stretch of the imagination.
Well,
but
you have a gift, Mauro. I mean, there's no question.
Well, thank you, but I'm saying, so what if we celebrated mental health? You know, there's Coachella, this amazing music festival how about if we celebrate, music, comedy, art, and instead of stigmatizing them, celebrate them? Because some of the most empathetic people I know suffer from mental health illness. We are fully functional human beings. You shouldn't be afraid of us. And I know, unfortunately, with the epidemic of mass shootings, and right away, what they talk about there, if anyone should be afraid of mentally ill people, it's us. I'm afraid of myself because I don't know what I'm capable of doing when times aren't going well. But for me, meditation, daily exercise, trying to eat clean, and continuing to talk about it, Rich, is the only way I'm going to stay alive. And that's why I had to do something like this documentary. It's not about me. It's not a vanity project. I wish I could have worn a mask. I want to show people that this is real. This has taken an incredible toll on my family and my friends. And I've had nothing but support, and it breaks my heart that so many people don't have support. And I apologize, but I can't believe people die simply because no one is there, or they feel like no one is there. That's the worst, man.
Well, obviously, you're there, and Bipolar Rock and Roller is there on Friday, May 25th at 9 Eastern on Showtime. I want to take a 60-second break. When we come back, I want to get into Mayweather, McGregor,
sounds good.
All of that good stuff.
Awesome.
You got it. Mauro Ranallo here on The Rich Eisen Show. We're back in a minute. All right, Mauro Ranallo here on The Rich Eisen Show. Again, Bipolar Rock and Roller premieres on May 25th, 9 Eastern Time on Showtime, where you called quite an event, Mayweather, McGregor. From what you were seeing, was Mayweather rope-a-doping him? What do you think?
Yeah, interesting. He says that he, carried him. And I think Conor McGregor acquitted himself better than anyone expected. And I don't think we should take away from that. In the same sense, I think Floyd Mayweather is 50-0 for a reason, one of the greatest defensive fighters of all time, but he's also a showman. And I'm not saying that he carried him, but he realized, especially with the spectacle that this event was, my two worlds colliding, where I think he wanted to make a show of it, but at the same time, I believe Conor McGregor, gave him the best fight that he could with that amount of limited experience. So I can't say for sure that he carried him, but I do know that it was way more entertaining than it probably should have been. Many of us expected. And so congratulations to both of them, because people, of course, still had the bitter taste in their mouth of the Floyd Mayweather-Manny Pacquiao super fight that took forever to finally come to fruition. So it's one of those once-in-a-lifetime spectacles, the second biggest pay-per-view in history. Everybody got paid. Even me. I got paid at that event, Rich.
Good for you. You deserve it, Mauro. Do you think he should get in the octagon? Would you want to see him at age 41?
I was one of those guys that said they should never. I mean, I didn't want to see the box at first, because you wonder, there's in our business, and you get this too, the separation between entertainment and the actual purity of the sport and the ratings and the rankings and whatnot. As we see more and more, everything now is entertainment, Rich. So if it's going to create a buzz and get eyeballs, I think there is still something to be said about the purity of the sport, but I don't know where the parameters are anymore. So I would think that Floyd Mayweather wouldn't get inside the octagon, but man, with the amount of money that is potentially at stake, we live in America, my friend. Capitalism.
I think we can agree, though. If he gets in the octagon, it's not boxing. He needs to, if you will, submit.
Sure. Sure.
Not literally, but figuratively, he needs to submit to fighting an MMA fight.
Right.
Correct.
And many people believe that it will be a short night for him inside
Floyd.
the octagon, because you don't become an expert mixed martial artist overnight. But that's the thing, that even between the two sports themselves, and you find anyone in mixed martial arts who's done boxing, it's completely different sport, and that's why I've never understood covering both sports, calling both sports, us against them. What? Mm. I enjoy football and basketball. I enjoy hockey.
You're not mixing those.
What? You know what I mean? You're not. Hey, what about basketball on ice?
That'd be great. That would be great. There'd be a lot of traveling, probably, or not called. Yeah. Wouldn't be called. They wouldn't be called there either. Biggest character you ever met from the wrestling world?
Wow. Yeah. Nature Boy Ric Flair, man. It's the beginning and end, and it was an honor for me, as of course a longtime wrestling fan, starting it when I first came to WWE, and he was backstage, and we ended up at a hotel bar where the legendary stories begin, and I'll never forget. I, of course, honored to be there, wanting to buy the Nature Boy Ric Flair a drink. He legitimately got pissed at me, Rich. He was like, nobody pays when the Nature Boy's around. And sure enough, he took care of everybody. And he is a bona fide legend, my favorite wrestler of all time.
So you didn't stutter right there. You just came right out. Like, that's it.
That's it. I mean, there are so many, obviously, that AJ Styles and John Cena, the pleasure of calling their 2017 WWE Match of the Year Royal Rumble, Daniel Bryan. I mean, I could go on and on, but when it comes to the quintessential professional wrestler and a guy who, lives the gimmick, as it were, it's Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Well, I could go on and on about, obviously the MMA, boxing, and wrestling, but a couple of people heard what you had to say, and I want to give them their say here with you. Okay,
sure.
Mauro? Let's go to Dusty in Wyoming. You're on the Rich Eisen Show with Mauro Ranallo. Dusty?
Hey, how's it going, Rich?
I'm well.
Good.
What's going on, Dusty?
Hey, I just want to thank Mr. Ranallo for coming on. I'm a disabled veteran in Laramie, Wyoming here. I have PTSD. I'm paid 100% by the government to stay at home and take care of my kids, and that's some of the best medicine I can have. But he's right. Talking about it and getting into the open, it doesn't fix it, but it helps, and it helps everybody around you help your situation, and it leads to more support.
Well, Dusty, appreciate that. And
yeah, Dusty, thank you. And you know what? The way we treat our veterans in this country is criminal. The fact that they have to go and see what they see and do what they do for this country, for our freedom, and we do not invest resources into taking care of them physically, mentally, and otherwise, it's shameful. So, Dusty, thank you for your service, and thank you very much for your support.
Thank you very much. And it doesn't take going to Iraq to
Exactly.
Create these mental problems. Some people are born with them. Some people get accidents. Some people are dropped as a baby. There's a lot of different things that leads to PTSD, bipolarism. There's a lot that leads to it. And thank you for being on there and giving awareness to it.
Thank you for calling, Dusty. Enjoy the time with your kids. John in Miami, you're on with Mauro Ranallo here on the Rich Eisen Show. John?
Hey, thank you, gentlemen. I've never called into a show before. I happened to be stepping out of a business lunch, and I caught the very moving remarks here and looked up your number online, and I'm thankful for you taking my call. I'm more thankful for you addressing the issue. I've been a professional banker in the Miami area for about 20 years and to highest levels. I've been not working for about 2 years, suffering from high anxiety, nothing quite as cleanly diagnosed as bipolar, a lot of depression, anxiety. I turned to drugs and alcohol. Rumors have gotten around. I cleaned that up, and I'm feeling very clear-headed and scared to go back to where I was, self-medicating. But there is a stigma. I'm trying to be honest with people about where I'm at. And I just think it's incredibly timely, and I really enjoy hearing two men talk about it so openly. I think there needs to be a forum for it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And Rich, honestly, what he's just mentioned as well, and even the veteran, we don't know what causes it. I still don't. They say chemical imbalance. They say it could be the environment. They say it could be your diet. Maybe in my family, on my mother's side, I know it's there. We need to invest resources. We need more money. We need help. These people should not be in jail. They should be being treated. Give the money that's necessary for research. Rich, they tell me, Mauro, take this pill. It'll make you feel better. Why? Well, we don't know, but studies have shown. I'm going to stick with something that has actually kept me alive and saved my life. And this has a stigma attached to it, too. The only reason I'm still here, the only reason I'm working is because of cannabis, Rich. And I know with the NFL, and I wish my mom was on cannabis. And I'm not saying that I'm stepping on a soapbox, everyone go get high and stoned. And, the stigma, though, that's attached with that. There is something in cannabis, whether the THC or the CBD, that has proven, and I'm living proof, that it not only helps but enhances my quality of life. Why would we not? Something that is natural, give it to people instead of, I was on Latuda. I had restless leg syndrome. I paced back and forth in my apartment for literally 4 hours, Rich. I almost jumped off the balcony. I was on lithium. I put on 30 pounds. The side effects of these chemicals, big pharma, is literally killing people. They're putting money in their coffers. Meanwhile, families are putting bodies in coffins. And enough is enough. So I'm glad that people are finally starting to take notice, and especially men, Rich. Men need to start talking more and more about their mental health.
Well, Mauro, come back anytime, man. I'm willing to have this conversation anytime you want to have it.
I appreciate your support, sir. Thank you so much.
Shake your hand, sir. Bipolar Rock and Roller. Check it out, May 25th, 9 Eastern Time on Showtime. And say hi to Al Bernstein and the guys.
Hall of Famer loves you. And you guys called a fight together, did you not, in ESPN?
We did SportsCenter at the Holyfield Moore 2 fight. We'll always have Vegas, Al and I.
He's a mensch, as they say.
Me, him, and John Saraceno.
Right.
And I did that.
Awesome.
Good to see you, Mauro.
Good to see you,
Come
Rich.
back anytime.
Pleasure.
That's Mauro Ranallo. Again, check out his documentary Friday, May 25th on Showtime.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.